See 24 hour, I just go like 24-hour economy.
Yes.
Anyway, we're joined by the CEO of MoMo, Haruna Shaibu, who's joined us here. I almost said in studio. Yes, today this is our studio.
Yeah.
And so we can take it like that. He joined us earlier to welcome all of us. Good morning, Haruna Shaibu, once again.
Good morning, Winston, and good morning, Kojo.
Good morning.
Sorry,
good morning. Good morning.
we've turned your office into our studios today.
Yeah, we love it, and if you don't mind, we can do this every day of it because we see the whole Accra from here. We see the traffic, we see the weather, we see the infrastructure, and there's a lot of breakfast and lunch waiting for us as well. Why not? We can do this every day.
You've come to somebody's office and you want to convert his office into your office. Hmm? Okay, please stay here. When you're done, after 10,
Yes.
you go back to your office. And that's what you have to do. But look, I mean, let's do it this way. I mean, let's look at your journey. I mean, for the past 16 years, what would you say, is Momo's most significant milestone? I mean, or what are the most significant milestones?
Okay, thank you very much, Winston. And let me once again say a big good morning to your listeners and viewers online, and also to Ghana. Again, it's 16 years, and it's a wonderful story about impact and execution. Also, a wonderful story about Ghanaians and when they believe in something and how far they can take it. You know, it's not always been this great story when it all started 16 years ago. And always we have to remind ourselves where we've come from. And it was a very simple dream around using feature phones at the time to power financial services. We took inspiration from East Africa, specifically Kenya. But for us, the main point about it was how the transformative power that this has, not just on the economy as a whole, but also touching individuals. So when we start looking at the impact story of mobile money, for me, I translate it down to the power that is given to individuals. What the story of every individual is around mobile money. Everybody has a unique mobile money story. And I'll tell you mine in a moment.
Okay.
For me, one defining moment for me, probably one that comes really in mind, is recently I visited my favorite wache joint somewhere around Medina.
Okay.
And I tried to pay money for avocado. I bought some avocado from a vendor who was just right by the wache seller. And she instantly told me, no, you can't send the money to my mobile.
Oh.
So I asked her, why? You are owing, right? And she admitted. I mean, I was quite humbled by
Oh, Shaibu, you brought this matter.
her honesty. But she told me one, touching point. She said, look, I've been sick for the last 3 days and I couldn't raise the funds. I couldn't work. So she's literally using the MoMo loan to fund her working capital for her avocado business. And for me, it was quite touching. Fast forward a few weeks down the line, when I came and I saw her, she was beaming with a lot of smile. And
This time when she had paid.
And this time she's paid.
Good.
And she told me that, look, now you can pay the money into my wallet, and I've paid it. And I was quite touched by this. And it tells me, and these are the transformative power of mobile money in terms of what it does to individuals. And if you stretch it for businesses, it's quite transformative as well. I'm speaking to farmers here, right? So the last time we had a conversation, it was around how it's changed the way you actually do business, and you're able to actually effectively discharge your functions even remotely wherever you are. And don't forget that people are not just using our services whilst in Ghana, but even when you travel outside of the country, you are effectively able to remain engaged in whatever you do. So for me, the story is not about the big numbers that we put out, but the small story that each one of us have.
Great. I mean, I'll tell you something, talking about even if you're outside the country, I think last year in November when I was outside the country, I needed to send money home. I actually had to use MoMo. I mean, it was that simple. And these days, when you get into any of these online ride-hailing vehicles, and you have to pay them, when you give them money and they say, the next thing they tell you is, oh, send me MoMo. So it's actually made financial transaction very, very easy. Kuju was talking earlier about, not remembering the last time he was in a bank. I don't also. I don't show up in a bank. Everything I need to do, I get people, you send me the money, I can put the money in my bank account if I want to. So it's so simple, except that, sometimes if you want to transfer more than 25,000, you're unable to. That one, I'm sure, is one of the things that we'll talk about later on. But in moving on, let's look at, Ghana's evolving fintech landscape. How is, MoMo positioning itself to drive sustainability, digital financial inclusion for underserved communities?
Yeah, no, this is a very important one. When we started our journey, it was about getting everyone on board, right? And I often equate that to casting a net, in the ocean, and you grab whatever is available. We have, using that mechanism over the years, been able to bring in the millions of customers who use our services. As per our published results, media result, over 17.7 million active users on our platform. Now, beyond that, when you slice our data, there are very clear gaps in terms of inclusion. And this, I coined a word, what they call an acronym, which is GRR. Essentially, you have elements of it which are geographic in nature, where you have geographic disparity, either rural versus urban, and you also have, regional pockets. But there's also the gender element, which is also there. Now, for us, we then look at these we look at initiative that enables us to unlock the opportunities in these areas of underserved. So if I take the gender element, for instance, if you look at our data, we have a reasonably dominant proportion of our base who are male.
Okay.
And there's opportunity to add women. And the question you ask is, why are women proportionately not within the mobile money ecosystem?
Exactly.
And what then means is that we have to get into the specific blocks and engage. So we do a lot of initiatives around women initiatives. We've actually signed up a commitment with GSMA, which is a global body for telecommunication operators, to drive inclusion among women. So specifically, if you look at our agent network, we are encouraging women entrepreneurs to sign up as agent for mobile money.
Before you continue, I'm just curious, because I know there are more female entrepreneurs. Women like to engage in entrepreneurship more. So why don't we have more of them?
Well, it's the safety of cash for some of them, and also building digital literacy for them. And it's part of the journey we take these user groups through. So, for instance, associations, we work with trade associations like the Hairdressers Association by providing capacity, and it's important you build trust amongst them in terms of providing data literacy and knowledge, and also financial management skills. That way we're able to onboard them. So it's a question of trying to understand their pockets, understand their unique needs, and being able to now solution them and provide capacity for them. So the approach now is a lot more focused and a lot more deliberate in unlocking potential. I mean, if you take the rural disparity, for instance, we're doing quite a number of research work currently with the likes of Refined, which is a research arm of the Institute of Statistical and Social Research. And it is to help us understand some of the dynamics around rural penetration of agents. And we've done some interesting experimentation, having some control groups as well as other elements, just to understand what motivates and get people on board in the rural setting. And quite interesting insights are coming through from these research work. And
I'm interested in some of the insights.
It is defining how we serve these rural communities. So, for instance, in terms of price compliance in the rural areas, for instance, we did some work to say, okay, in one community, we actually educate the users, the agents, and also the community around price compliance. And then we then have two specific agents, one with an intervention, one without an intervention, to see whether there will be a change in terms of transaction behavior in those communities. So these are just to make us understand the unique elements that unlocks growth within communities. And then we're able to now define a kind of either it's incentive structure for the channel or deliberate interventions that we need to put within that local community in order to unlock growth. And this information is actually also shared publicly because it's a research documentation. And for us, we do that to also benefit the industry at large, where other EMIs can also pick up the learning and also help propel and grow financial inclusion. For us, we take our leadership role very important to say we work with the industry to unlock growth for the mutual growth of the entire ecosystem, banks, fintechs, and all other value chain partners we have.
So you've talked about gender, rural. What's the third one? Is GRR?
Yeah, we have gender, rural, and then also the regional disparity.
Okay. Great. This morning we're joined by Shaibu, Haruna, who is CEO of MoMo. We're having a conversation about, fintech and sustainability. We've talked about how you're looking at serving the underserved communities. Let's look at some of the challenges that MoMo has faced in expanding digital financial inclusion and how you've been able to overcome these challenges.
No, thank you very much. Let me say, and perhaps starts on a high in terms of the environment that we thrive. At the very core of our business is the enabling environment that we find ourselves in from a regulatory standpoint. And as you know, recently there's been quite a lot of momentum in terms of tackling some of the regulatory areas within the fintech industry, and I'm very optimistic about the direction in terms of regulation and how the shape of the industry will look like, down the line. But speaking about the challenges, I think one that will go without saying is the issue of digital fraud. And I have to start by emphasizing that this is a general industry issue, not just in Ghana, but it's actually a global phenomenon. I mean, recently I was sharing some notes with some of my colleagues in other parts of Africa, and similar trends and quite, worrying trends are emerging in most of these markets. And this remains one of the biggest threats for any technology company. If you stretch it, you are also talking about cybersecurity threat, which are realities that we have to deal with in the digital space. But I think fundamentally, we know the source of the issues. We are very confident about the robustness of our platform, and we continue to invest to make sure that the platforms are safe. But you see, if you have a vehicle and you don't drive it well, obviously you're exposed to having an accident. And for us, that is a journey we have to embark with our customers to ensure that we protect ourselves at all time. And if you notice, the last 3 months or so, we've actually increased the tempo of our investment in educating customers we've embarked on a number of interventions, both on social media and other media channels. But beyond that, we're actually going into the rural communities. Just last week, we launched what we call a Shine Your Eye campaign, which is targeting vulnerable communities and taking the engagement around fraud to them, to live it and to demonstrate to them through different methods such as drama, music, to engage them around the subject. And we've seen that impacting in terms of, the incidents of fraud that is happening. But I think it's important to use this platform to re-emphasize the fact that the first and last line of defense for our customers is themselves. So we have to take responsibility and take it very seriously in that regard. Beyond the issue of fraud, it's obviously the natural issue around access to devices. And today we are talking about smartphones as well, because it's no longer about having feature phone, because the user experience around feature phones are no longer exciting, especially if you look at the services that we are providing on our platform. So having access to smart devices remains a very major barrier to actually experience digital financial services. We're doing a lot of stuff around partnerships. Currently, our connectivity business is working with M-Copper to provide device financing to customers. We have a buy now, pay later solution with partnerships with Access Bank and other partners. And we're looking out for a lot more of such buy now, pay later options to ensure that people who can actually pay maybe 2-3 cities on a daily basis towards financing their devices. So those remain issues that we need to work together to address. And of course, there's a bit around service adoption. So majority of our customers still only use a service for send me money, receive money. But there's a lot more that we can do with mobile money, as we work towards building a digital light ecosystem.
Kofi, you know what I'm looking forward to? This week, one of the conversations we'll have will be on housing and affordable housing.
Sure.
And now that mobile money is enabling people to buy devices now and pay later, I'm looking forward to a day where mobile money will use it and grow the base such that you can even buy a house with mobile money and pay later. Because now, it's possible. If your daily transaction limit is 25,000 cedis and you're doing a lot of business, you're seeing money, MTNCs, your transaction volumes. Because the last time I went to an embassy actually for a visa and they asked for my bank statement, I actually printed my bank statement and printed my MoMo statement in addition, because I knew they would ask, why is it that whenever money hits your account, it just moves? And I wanted to make the point that it's more convenient for me to do my transactions on MoMo. So I printed my bank statement, printed my MoMo statement, and very soon I can be paying for my mortgages and even for housing with MoMo. And so I want to pray that into your future, that in about 5 years we should be able to do that.
Let me surprise you with that. I mean, our sister operation in South Africa, for instance, recently partnered with a home finance company to be able to enable that. And again, this is the power of digital, moving your customers, what we call modernizing our base, to move our customers in using smart devices, because then it enables you now to be able to upload your KYC, complete all your documentation online, and seamlessly submit your application for all the credit scoring to take place and being offered. So these are possible opportunities. And again, it speaks to the power of partnerships, where we partner. We don't provide a credit, but we work with partners who have the capital, and we create solutions that address people's needs. So yeah, these are possibilities for the future.
Great. So we'll look forward to that in Ghana. But let's talk ESG goals, okay? Can you share some key initiatives that MoMo has implemented or plans to implement that support ESG goals?
Okay, thank you. As a business, I think we are very big on the social aspects of ESG, right? And I'll talk later around environment in terms of some of the things that we do. But let me start off from the social aspect of ESG. I think earlier on we spoke about the women initiatives that we're doing, and this is very deliberate in terms of how we deal with women inclusion, agents, merchants, ecosystem, rural women, and these are targeted, underserved elements of our customer base that we have deliberate programs to drive their inclusion. Staying on the subject of women inclusion is also even our own staff, right? So we have a deliberate plan to actually move our women inclusion in our business from the current level of 42% to 50%, by 2030. So that's an important milestone for us, bringing women. If you look at our board, we have, from a governance standpoint, we have a very solid board, and I can also proudly say that it's also a very balanced board, with 50% women leaders sitting on our board.
Great.
So we've done quite some good work in enabling and bringing women participation in our business. It remains a key focus for us.
Great. So lots of good things that you're doing. But let me just find this out from you, okay? What role do partnerships, regulation, and responsible leadership play in your achieving sustainable growth in fintech?
Okay, let me backtrack a little bit first. I think it's important I highlight one key social interventions that we do, and this is with our partners, especially the global development partners. We do a lot of targeted initiatives. Currently, we're doing quite a number of them in the 5 northern regions, essentially with the likes of World Food Programme, and as well as UNICEF and some of these. And this is delivering key donor intervention to the recipients. And this is very important for us because of the transformative power of these initiatives. People who are who have food insecurity issues getting interventions, and they are traceable and transparent means of tracing who the recipients of these services are. And for us, this is the true story about impact and also delivering your social goals. But just to back to the question,
Sure.
Which is around partnerships, regulation. I have to start off again by highlighting the fact that we've had a very progressive regulatory environment, and I say progressive because the industry is actively engaged through the regulatory journey. You don't find this in many jurisdictions, and this really helps to shape policy and also regulation in a manner that drives innovation in the market. And we're very thankful for that, and we are very hopeful that this will be sustained. And also progressive in a sense that it's anticipating changes in the market and trying to use proportional regulation to manage whatever the risk and also the opportunity is. Now, intricately linked to what we do is partnerships. And for us, at the very core of our service is the power of partnerships. Banks, fintechs, agents, merchants, distributors, and even our suppliers. You need to pull all of it together in order to deliver innovation at scale. I mean, if we have to do every single innovation that we churn out by ourselves, I'm sure we probably would be, somebody would say, you will still be in class 1, right? What we've done and what has propelled us is working with all the ecosystem. And I'm particularly proud about the relationship that we have with our fintech community in Ghana. A few years ago, we had very few fintechs in our market. Today, we have over 50 regulated entities actively working in the space to grow. And we continuously partner them in different areas, whether it's in agro, trying to find agro solutions, working with banks and fintech to develop the market in those areas.
Great. I know you have to leave us, but before you leave, what's your vision for MoMo's next chapter as it continues to grow? With over 17 million subscribers, I'd like to know your vision for the next chapter.
Okay, it's a very simple one, but also very deep one, which is basically to build Ghana's digital future together. And this we do by unlocking opportunities for everyone. Now, in terms of what it means exactly, it means that we are looking towards modernizing our base, and I talked about putting smartphones in everybody's hands. We are also talking about evolving MoMo from just a payment instrument to actually a lifestyle. So that transition needs to happen. And for businesses, it's not just a means of payment, but actually a partner for growth. And also from a nation-state point of view, to be a real partner for socio-economic transformation.
Shaibu Haruna, thank you so much for joining us this morning. Also, thank you for welcoming us into your head office here. We're using your boardroom this morning as our studios on the Super Morning Show on Joy 99.7.
Thank you very much.
Yes.